Okay, my dear children, today we are going to start with this important poem. The name of the poem is Childhood, and this poem is written by a Norwegian poet named Marcus Natten. So, about the poet Marcus Natten, lot many ideas or lot many informations are not received. Therefore, only we know that he was from Norway. Therefore, let us start with the poem Childhood. So here we go. Let us continue. So my dear children, so first we will be starting with the main text. So in the main text, so let us see the main text first. So let us continue. So this is the main text. So when we read a particular poem, what is important is that we need to comprehend first the sound of the poem, and therefore it is imperative, it is obligatory that we read the poem very silently and try to comprehend it. Therefore, before starting, it is now your time that you read the poem very silently. Your time starts now. Therefore, my dear children, so your silent reading is over. Now it is my time. So I'll be reading out the poem, and you will see the sound, you will see the rhythm, you will see the run on line. That means you will see the enjambment, and then you will try to comprehend what the poet is going to tell us about. And this lesson, you will understand that this is appropriate to your age, and that makes this lesson more important. Therefore, let us go to it. So now, let us start. When did my childhood to go? Was it the day I ceased to be 11? Was it the time I realized that hell and heaven could not be found in geography and therefore could not? Was that the day? When did my childhood to go? Was it the time I realized that adults were not all that they seemed to be? They talked of love and preached of love, but did not act so lovingly. Was that the day? When did my childhood go? Was it when I found my mind was really mine to use whichever way I choose, producing thoughts that were not those of others but my own and mine alone? Was that the day? Where did my childhood go? I went to some forgotten place. It went to some forgotten place that is hidden in an infant's face. That's all I know. So let us continue, my dear children. So we'll be going for the explanation of the poem, and after the explanation of the poem stanza wise, we'll be going for the critical analysis of the poem. So here we go. Let us continue with the explanation of the poem stanza wise. So here we continue. Let us see the detailed explanation of the poem. So before starting the detailed explanation of the poem, it is very important, it is very imperative, it is very necessary that we know all the stages of man's life. So my dear children, this particular lesson actually talks about what? It talks about human life cycle. It talks about, it is better to note it down, human life cycle. So in a human life cycle, you will notice that there is the infancy. There is infancy, and the infancy is followed by childhood. Childhood is followed by the adolescence. Adolescence. Adolescence is followed by adulthood. Adulthood, and the adulthood is followed by the middle age, and the middle age is followed by the last age, that is the old age. Old age. Now see, we are talking about this childhood. This childhood is the particular period that starts from the year 4 and it ends with 8. And after 8, what happens after 8? So this adolescent period starts, and adolescent period is divided into two parts. The older adolescent is adolescent. I'm writing adolescent AD, adolescent period, and the earlier adolescent period. So in the earlier adolescent period, my dear children, you will see that this is the start of the teenage. This is the start of the teenage. So you will understand what are the changes that you will notice. The change of the tune, change of the biology, change of the way of thinking, change of asking the question. So all these changes are noticed in the teenager. Therefore, teenager is a very challenging period, and this is also an opportunity for you, because it is that particular period in which you make your future plan, you begin to study and make your life. Therefore, my dear children, the poet here talks about this childhood, and when he is talking about the childhood, so he lost what? He lost the infancy. He lost the infancy. Infancy again divided into two parts. Okay, the first part from from birth means 0 to year 1, that is called the early infancy. और दूसरा जो infancy होता है means older infancy होता है, that actually starts from 1 to 2 to 3, means this is called the age of the toddler age. मतलब इसमें क्या होता है, बच्चा मतलब खेलते रहते हैं, है ना. So he is given some tools, he is given some tools by which he begin to do play. Therefore he already has lost his infancy, and after losing the infancy has come to the childhood, and now when he is going to lose the childhood, so he will be going to the former or earlier stage of adolescence, and after passing to the adolescence, he will be going to the full adolescent period lasting up to 19. My dear children, so in this lesson, when we are talking about all this, so what is the sense that's expressed here? What is the sense? वो सेंस को हम क्या बोलते हैं? उसको हम टोन बोलते हैं, है ना. कविता का मतलब टोन क्या है? तो ये टोन जो होता है ना, टोन मतलब क्या होता है? गंभीर भी हो सकता है, मतलब सीरियस हो सकता है, और ये लाइट भी हो सकता है, लेकिन इधर जो है ना, द टोन इज सीरियस. द टोन इज सीरियस. सीरियस मतलब किसके लिए है ना. सीरियस मतलब लॉस के कारण हुआ, है ना. लॉस के कारण, सपोज आपका कुछ मतलब पैसा था, some rupee, okay, some money you had and you lost the money, then there will be no sense of happiness, there will be seriousness. There will be seriousness. Here also there is the sense of loss, and because of that the tone become very serious in, okay, serious in tone. It becomes serious in tone. Now let us see now. So we'll see the explanation of the poem. There you go. Let us continue. So first let us see how many stanzas are there. There are 4 stanzas here. So you will see now. So when the question is asked by WH. So this WH question, this may be when, this may be why, this may be where, okay, this may be whence, okay. So all this is question you will see, it is started with WH. Therefore, these questions are called WH question. Here also we will notice that the question that is started is the WH question. Now he is asking that the poet is very much remorseful. He is very much remorseful, means he is showing his regret. He is showing his regret. So when he lost the childhood, he actually expresses a regret or the remorse that this childhood was the particular period of joy, the period of happiness, the period of period of a happy-go-lucky, means having no care and worries, means it was really a fantastic period of man's life. And therefore, when this particular period is lost, he expresses his sense of regret or remorse. Therefore, he begins to ask the question. What is the question? When did my childhood to go? Was it the day I ceased to be 11? Was it the time I realized that Helen Havel could not be found in geography and therefore could not be? Was that the day? Now, my dear children, let us see. So, first we will see the simple meaning. After that, we will see the poetic device. And then we will see the explanation that is written down here so that it will be a kind of revision for us. Now, let us see. So, the poet is asking the question. So, when exactly means what? When means the time. That means earlier we were talking about what? We were talking about the age 4 to 8. That means he crossed what? 8. And after that what he entered the early adolescent period. So this is a natural process, my dear children. So this life cycle is a natural process and we have nothing to worry. But one doesn't understand, one doesn't perceive, one doesn't know when the particular time, particular period of the time goes by. Okay, there is no particular border. Okay, there is no particular border like the infancy, childhood, adolescence, and the adulthood and manhood, or senior age or the old age. ऐसा कोई मतलब boundary नहीं है. There is no boundary at all, and therefore the person could not understand when this is a precious period of a man's life has departed from him. Now he's now giving the option. So he's now giving the answer. So was it the day when I ceased to be 11? That means cease means what? Cease means stop. So when I stopped to be 11 means when I started to 12. Okay, when I started to 12, then that means I am going to do the adult age. Adult age start from the former. Okay, adult age start from 9 to 13. 9 to 13 it is the early adulthood. So when you are adult, then you begin to do question. You do not take the thing from granted. Okay, आपको जो भी बोला जाएगा वो आप नहीं मानेंगे. आप उसके मतलब क्या करेंगे? उसके पास मतलब लॉजिक लगाएंगे, रीजन लगाएंगे. Means your logical power, your logical reasoning will be developed. Okay, when you are told that the fairy tales in the childhood or in the former childhood, then you begin to understand. You begin to simply admit it. Okay, all right, it's all right, it's okay. But at this stage, you begin to ask a question. Now he's now asking the question: was it the particular moment when I crossed 11 that my childhood is lost? Now again, he's giving another option. The option is that was it the time I realized that Helen Haven could not be found in geography? Means his realization power has started now. That means he has developed what? He has developed the region. He has developed the logic. So now he is asking that the second option: was it a particular moment of life when I developed this region or logical power? Was it the time that I lost my childhood? So he is asking the question to himself. Was it the day? Was it the day? So he is now repeating the same. So let us see the explanation once again here in the form of the summary that is written here. Let us go for it. Now let us continue. The poet wonders when he lost his childhood. He wonders means he marvels. M-A-R-V-E-L, marvel. Means he's guessing. He's going to guess. He actually does not get an answer, but he's wondering when he lost his childhood. Means he's like making a lot of surmises. Lot of surmises or guesses are made by him as to the different options when he lost the childhood. He reflects that perhaps it was at the day when he crossed the age of 11. Maybe it was at the stage when he realized that the concept of the hell and heaven, about which he has been taught since his childhood, did not really exist in reality. Now see, so in this particular part, so another question that comes to your mind. So when he was into the childhood, he was talked about the hell and heaven. This particular concept, when he comes to the adolescence, then when he is taught the book of geography, then he finds that in the book of geography there is no particular location or the place which is called hell and heaven. When he begin to perceive or understand that particular concept that hell and heaven could not be found in the book of geography, was it the particular day that he lost his childhood? Geographic textbook did not give the location of any such place as a hell and heaven. The poet realized that he might have lost his childhood when he gained his rational outlook due to getting educated. Now, he's again telling that yes, my education which actually give me the reasoning power when I'm growing in age, I'm getting my adolescence or the adulthood. So what I'm gaining? I'm gaining the reasoning power. How I am gaining the reasoning power? Through my books. And was that particular gain has the loss of the innocence of the childhood? So he's asking the question. Now let us, my dear children, let us see the poetic devices here. So in this particular stanza, we will see that there are many poetic devices here. And one of the poetic devices is the alliteration. So alliteration is found where you see, was it the time I realized that hell and heaven, you will see the similarity of the sound H. These are the consonant sound, and the consonant sound is repeated. When there is a consonant sound repeated in the line of a poem, then that is called the alliteration. What is that called? That is called alliteration. Therefore, there is a use of the alliteration here, and there is the alliteration here also, was that the D. That particular sound, okay, th, the D, all this sound are similar, okay, similar. Therefore, they are the use of the alliteration. Now let us see stanza number 2. Let us see the stanza number 2. So his questioning start. His questioning continues. When did my childhood go? Was it the time I realized that adults were not all the same to be? They talked of love and preached of love, but did not act so lovingly. Was that the day? Now here also very interesting now. So he began to ask the question to himself as to when he lost his prime period, very beautiful period, very precious period of Slider's childhood. So he is asking the question because he felt that it is a great loss for him, and therefore he is asking the question. So when he understood, okay, so he has got the comprehension power. He has got the comprehension power. He could perceive, 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 means he has the perception. So what perception he has? He has the perception of understanding between the word and action. Word and action. Word and action of whom? The adult. That means the adult, what does the adult do? The adult tells something or they preach something. P-R-E-A-C-H. So जो preach करते हैं, preach का मतलब क्या है? Preach का मतलब है advice. A-D-V-I-C. अगर मतलब verb होगा A-D-V-I-S-E. Advice means giving advice. This is giving advice. Preaching. तो वो जो प्रीच जो करते हैं उसको मतलब क्या बोलते हैं, प्रीचर बोलते हैं. और जो मतलब particularly this preacher are found, okay, into the temple, into the churches, okay, they are called the preacher, P-R-E-A-C-H-E-R. Preacher means they preach something or they support something or they advocate something. They advocate something. वो लोग बोलते कुछ करते कुछ अलग. और ये जो मतलब कंसेप्ट है telling something and doing something else, that is called the hypocrisy. उसको क्या बोलते हैं? That is called the hypocrisy. Hypocrisy. Those people who are indulging in this sort of the thing, okay, like they tell something and do something else, telling and doing totally different. They are called the hypocrite, and this concept is called hypocrisy. Hypocrisy means they are hypocrite and they are indulging in hypocrisy. And when I understand this particular concept that adults are not what they appear, adults do not actually practice what they preach. So when I understand this was that particular moment or the time when my childhood departed or bid goodbye to my life. Okay, then let us see in the form of the recapitulation. Let us see the explanation once again. The poet reflects that maybe the loss of the childhood occurred when he was able to see through or understand the hypocrisy of the adult. These people followed the double standard, actually following and preaching different standard of behavior. They told the people to be loving and caring. However, they themselves were argumentative, violent, and discourteous. Their behavior was far from the love they sermonized about and advocated. देखिए, so this adult, what does the adult tell? बच्चों, आपको बहुत प्यार से बात करना है, लेकिन वो जो है ना, वो बहुत मतलब डांटते हैं, वो प्यार की बात नहीं करते, वो धमकी देते हैं. तो उसका मतलब बोलनी और करनी अलग होते हैं. What did they preach? They advocate something, they support something. What did they preach? That we should actually love each other. But sometimes, many times they become very violent, very much aggressive. That means they are what they are actually telling. They are not following. Therefore, they are hypocrite and they are indulging in hypocrisy. And when he understood this particular behavior of the adult, the poet Marcus Natten asked the question: was that the particular time that he lost his childhood? Now let us continue. Let us go for the next stanza. Next stanza is stanza number 3. When did my childhood to go? Was it when I found my mind was really mine to use whichever way I chose, producing thoughts and that were not those of other people but my own and mine alone? Was that the day? Once again, the poet is asking the question to himself about the time of the departure of his precious time, that is childhood. Now he relates this one with the development of the mind. He relates it with the development of the mind. Okay, so mind become what? Mind become quite rational. Quite rational. It develops the logic, and when it becomes logical, it also becomes what? Original. It becomes original. Means it becomes inventive. Okay, it actually can innovate. Okay, it can innovate. Innovate means discover something. It can innovate something. It can find out. Okay, it can search out or find out something very new. Therefore, now that the poet is asking the question, when this novel idea, N-O-V-L, novel means a new idea, come to his mind, and he was not influenced by the ideas of the other, means a new idea, original idea, genuine ideas came to his mind, and that was not influenced by the other, was at the particular moment of his life that he lost his precious time of the childhood. So he was asking the question. So here really mind means which is not influenced by others' opinion. Whichever means any way you can divert, any way you can think. Producing means to creating, means so this is a creativity now. Creativity, novelty, searching, finding, discovering, and all these innovations are now the hallmark of this particular age. And when this is developed, the thoughts are very new, and this is uninfluenced by other. No, what is that particular period? He was talking about when he lost his prime period at his childhood. So he is asking the question. Now let us recapitulate. The poet asked the same question again and again, but with a different option. Now his option is different. He is trying to guess when he actually lost his childhood. So he is trying to surmise, guess करना, अंदाजा लगाना. वो अंदाजा लगाना चाहते थे कि मतलब what was the particular specific time that he lost his childhood. Perhaps it was the day when he realized that his mind could think independently. So mind was very independent. It was not dependent on the thought of the other or the feeling of the other. It can develop its own ideas and thoughts. It can form their own opinion, and being able to take its own decision means this is very important. So at this particular stage of life, man can decide. So he did not to be given to the decision of the other. He can have his own decisive power. So he can decide by itself. So he was asking the question, when this particular faculty of the mind was developed, was that the particular period of his life that childhood departed from him. Then let us go to the next paragraph, next stanza number 4. Now I will be reading out of the stanza number 4, and then I will be asking one question about the starting of this particular stanza and the earlier stanzas. So you will have to tell the difference. Will I start now? Yes, come on. Where did my childhood go? It went to some forgotten place that is hidden in an infant's face. That's all I know. Now what is the difference of the beginning or the starting, the introduction of this stanza and the earlier stanza? Yes, you have got it. In the earlier stanza, so he was starting with the when, and in this particular stanza he is starting with the where. Where means he is talking about the particular place, and here in this stanza he is also giving the answer. Earlier he was talking about the options, MCQ questions, multiple choice questions. Now he is coming to the conclusion. Yes, my guessing will be correct. Therefore he is telling that yes, this is the particular perhaps this is the possible place where childhood can refuse, can take shelter. So what is that sheltering place? Let us go far. Once again, where did my childhood go? It went to some forgotten place that is hidden in an infant's place. That's all I know. Now the writer Marcus Natten, the poet Marcus Natten told that that's all I know means whatever I know for certain. I know certain that it has a hidden, means it is keeping very much dormant. Dormant. वो मतलब छिपे हुए हैं, कहाँ छिपे हुए हैं? In the face of the infant. मतलब it is going to its former stage. पहले मतलब क्या था? ये था infancy, है ना? Infancy. तो infancy मतलब कितना तक था? 1 to 3 जब क्रॉस हो गया तब क्या हुआ? So he is coming to the early childhood. From 4 to 8 now he is enjoying the full childhood, and after 8 now he lost the childhood too. He is going to gain to the adulthood. Now he is now going back. He is now reverting, REVERT, reverting. He is reverting to what? The former stage. What is the former stage? The infancy. So he is now very much assured that the particular stage that he has crossed, that is the infancy, is or may be the particular place where the childhood might have taken shelter. And that is not only my guessing, that is my surety. I can tell for sure that is the particular place where that precious period that is childhood has taken shelter. My dear children, let us see the explanation in the form of the summary. Let us see the explanation. In this stanza, the poet changes his question. Now, the pattern of the question changes. The poet now wonders where his childhood has gone. So now, he is wondering, he is now surmising, he is now imagining the particular place where the childhood has departed. He reflects that maybe his childhood has gone back to his unremembered place. Okay, unremembered place means some forgotten place. The particular place which is forgotten by the adult. By the adult. Adult now is forgetting the childhood, and the childhood is forgetting the infancy, and that is the particular stage. That is the particular speech that the writer is talking about. The poet also said that childhood can be found in the innocent face of the child who does not have any pretension and rationality, who trusts other unconditionally. ये देखिए pretension is coming from P-R-E-T-E-N-D, pretend. pretend का मतलब क्या है? acting, है ना? acting और disguising, जो आप नहीं है वो आपको दिखाना. That is called the pretension, है ना? So what was the word that was used? The word was hypocrisy. Means you are indulging in pretension. Okay, you are indulging in pretension. The poet also says that the childhood can be found in the innocent face of the child who doesn't have any pretension and rationality, who trusts others unconditionally. So the writer now is talking about the childhood. So he's talking about the particular period that is called infancy. Infancy is the particular period where the child child takes for granted. The child easily take things for granted, or they think that this is okay, all right, without any condition. They do not have any kind of pretension, or they do not also develop the logic or rationality. Therefore, let us see the conclusion of the poem. Let us see the poem. The poet concludes the poem by expressing his regret at the loss of childhood, which was a beautiful period of his life. He comes to the conclusion that it has gone to some forgotten place. The recollection of it has faded away with the passage of time. Perhaps it has gone to the innocent face of a child. Here the poet creates a lovely image of infant's face. He conveys the idea that innocence of the childhood remains only as long as one is infant. There is a tinge of optimism in this tone. At least innocence and purity of mind prevailed in some form or the other on this earth. So this particular poem, okay, we see there is pessimism. There is pessimism. Pessimism. Matlab, it is always talking about what? Negative. It is always expressing the sadness. But in the midst of all this pessimism, there is some hoping note. There is some note of hope or optimism in the thought that in spite of all these negative qualities, there is some positive quality that is to be found in the infant face, and at least one can derive the pleasure from it, because the child is the symbol of purity, and innocence. Therefore, let us now see the poetic devices used here. One is antithesis. So now, what do you know about antithesis? Antithesis. So antithesis is, you see, so you'll be writing these terms also. Antithesis is the particular term that is found in the stanza number 1. This figure of speech refer to the placement of opposing or contrasting ideas together. अगर दो आइडिया होता है ना, से फॉर एग्जाम्पल hell and heaven, earth and sky. So these two very opposing and contrasting ideas are put together in order to emphasize the difference. ये किसके लिए मतलब दिया गया है? In order to stress, in order to emphasize the difference between the two. That particular idea is called the antithesis. It can be seen in the use of the word hell and heaven. So let us see the line or quote the line. Was it the time I realized that hell and heaven could not be found in geography? That means hell and heaven, these are two opposing, contrasting ideas put together or juxtapose. उसको बोलते हैं juxtapose किया गया है, दोनों को एक साथ. वो किसके कारण मतलब किया गया है? Just in order to put the stress, or just in order to show the force. Another one is the enjambment. So this enjambment is, this figure of speech refers to the practice of running lines of the poetry from one to the next without using any kind of punctuation to indicate a stop. The example in the second line of the second stanza. Second line of the second stanza. You see, when did my childhood go? Was it the time I realized that adults were not all they seemed to be? You see, were not. These are the second line of the second stanza, and the idea is not clear here. And in order to clear this one, you need to go to the third line of the second stanza, like all they seem to be. Therefore, this sort of line is called run-on line, or it is also called the enjambment. I suppose you understood it. And we have already discussed the alliteration. And this is also the figure of speech. A number of words having the same first consonant sound occur close together in a series. For example, hell and heaven, that, the day, my mind, whichever way. All this word combination are used in this poem. So this is the use of the alliteration in the poem. So now, my dear children, let us continue. So after this discussion, it is better that we go to the initial discussion. So we are today we have changed the style of the narration. So after all this discussion, now we will see the introduction. So let us see with the introduction how this poem is introduced. In this poem, the childhood. So when we do this one, after explanation, when we go for the introduction, then we can understand better. How the lesson was introduced. Because from time to time, if we change the style of the presentation, that also become quite engrossing. E-N-G-R-O-S-S-I-N-G. Engrossing means enticing, means interest. Into the poem Childhood, the poet ponders deeply over the question of his lost childhood. Ponders means what? Reflects. Reflect का मतलब क्या है? सोचना. क्या चीज को ऊपर मतलब सोच रहे हैं? क्या बहुत सोच नहीं रहे? सो वो ज्यादा ही सोच रहे हैं. सो ज्यादा जो सोचना है वो क्या होता है? Pondering होता है. Pondering deeply over the question of his lost childhood, he recalls a number of stages when his thoughts and perceptions about the world of the people change. So he recalled different stages or the phases of life and his thought and perception about the world and its people. He tries to identify that one particular stage or time when he lost his childhood and stepped into the adulthood. So he remembered a particular stage when he entered into the world of the adulthood. Okay, and what was the symptom? What was the trait related to it? That also he could remember. He feels a sense of nostalgia. He feels a sense of nostalgia, means you are remembering when you are fondly remembering to the past. Okay, when you are fondly remembering to the past, that is called the nostalgia. Past recollection, which is very much fond. You are very much so fond of it. That is called nostalgia. So he felt a sense of nostalgia for the lost childhood and finally settles down to the idea that his childhood has gone to some forgotten place and that the place could only be found in an infant's face. So what is the feeling? Feeling is very important in the poem. So what is the kind of the feeling? The feeling of the nostalgia. What is nostalgia? Nostalgia is the particular recollection of the past of which is a fond memory. The fond memory. Okay? Nostalgia is the fond memory. Means it is a memory which you actually liked. Memory. Therefore, let us continue now. So we'll see the central idea. What are the central idea that is developed here? Let us make the summary of it, and then our lesson will be over. In this poem, the poet thinks deeply or ponder deeply over the question of his lost childhood. Childhood is a stage of innocence, which the child believes other and loves unconditionally. So in this childhood, the child believes everybody without any putting any condition, and the child is very much characteristic by innocence. He is very much known for his innocence, and when he is going to the adulthood, he lost the innocence and he comes to experience. The poet has tried to identify some stages of his life when his thoughts and perception of the world changes. The poem describes the first step to maturity or the loss of childhood, when one is able to think logically and rationally, forming one's own opinion and not getting influenced by others is also a sign of maturity. So in this poem, the poet also talks about the maturity. So the sign of maturity is that his mind is his own, means it cannot be influenced by other. It has the innovative quality or genuine quality. It develops the logic or the reason. So these are the sign of maturity. So when a particular decision is to be taken, he can decide by himself. His decision will not be influenced by other. Maybe it may be influenced by the book he studies, by the thought he is influenced by the former teachers. The poem also hints at the hypocrisy prevalent in our society, where people pretended to be nice to each other, but in reality they do not like each other. So this poem also hints at another particular concept, that is the hypocrisy. Hypocrisy prevails in the society, means it exists in the society very much. And this hypocrisy, what is this? That hypocrisy, in reality it is the hiding of the feeling, telling something else and doing something else. Therefore, this hypocrisy also the writer talks about, the poet talks about in this lesson. Therefore, my dear children, I suppose your understanding of the poem is complete. With this, let me conclude the lesson today. I'll meet you again with a new video. Till then, bye bye and have a very good day.